fantastic event.
I think we should take this observation seriously because, after all, there were many tremendous meteor impacts on the moon in the remote past. This is a mystery which we'll solve one day when we go back to the moon and explore it thoroughly. There are almost too many possible answers to the other classic astronomical mystery: what was the Star of Bethlehem?
After seeing the star in the east, according to St. Matthew, the wise men journeyed to Jerusalem. The star went before them and stood over where the young child was in Bethlehem. The star is now a central image of Christmas. But was it a miracle or a myth? Could it have been a real astronomical event? Chinese writings drawn up 2,000 years ago suggested one answer to astronomer Dr. Richard Stevenson. There were star records made for the emperors of China. Scholars think that Christ was born sometime between 8 and 4 BC.
What I did was to cover about the range from about 10 BC to 10 AD and see whether there were any new stars. Since a star seems to be the most obvious interpretation, visible around this period.
And there, in the Chenping period, 5 BC, was an unusual entry.
Here, this is what it says. In the second year of the rain period, second month, this is a lunar month, so this is about March to April, a Huixing, that's normally a broom star, or a comet, appeared. And it gives a little constellation in which it occurred. That's in Chen Yu. And it says, furthermore, it was visible for more than 70 days.
Stevenson believes the account refers not to a comet, which moves quite quickly across the sky, but to a nova, or exploding star, since the Chinese scribes mention no movement. But a rival theory has it that the Magi were astrologers, and that the star was a symbolic coming together of planets. Dr. David Hughes has programmed a computer to recreate the night sky as it was 2,000 years ago.
My theory is that the Star of Bethlehem was Jupiter, and the event that Jupiter was in at the time was a coming together with Saturn, another planet, in the constellation of Pisces. Here you see the stars in Pisces, and these stars represent the tails of the two fissures. When anything happens in here, when any planets start to move around, the astrologers in those days would have automatically connected this movement with events that were occurring in Palestine.
The Earth's movement around the Sun makes Saturn and Jupiter appear to move strangely in the sky. Just once every 805 years, this causes what's known as a triple conjunction in Pisces. This happened in 7 BC.
The planet Saturn is the one of, astrologically, is the planet of the god, and Jupiter is the planet of the new Messiah. And what is happening in 7 BC is we're getting a coming together of these two planets, which is indicating that the rule of that land is being transferred from the god to the new Messiah. Here we have the date and Saturn moving into the frame first of all. Here we have Jupiter following Saturn. And of course, as the date changes, you can see them moving across the screen. And you get, on the 29th of May in 7 BC, the first conjunction, where the two planets come close together. The wise men would have been convinced at this time that something really important was happening in Palestine, and that the ruler of the Jews, the new ruler of the Jews, is going to come. We can continue, and you will now see the date moving, the planets move apart, and will then come together again in September, and this will be the second conjunction. And during that time, between May and September, the Magi would have been moving from Babylon across the desert, and would be continually looking at these stars in the sky with the planets moving among them. And these two coming together would be reinforcing their predictions. Now we can continue on to the third conjunction, and you will notice that again, as time progresses, the two planets move slightly apart, and then in December we'll come together again for the third time, and here on the 4th of December we have them again separated by about 1 degree.
Hughes believes that just before this third conjunction, the wise men saw Herod, and that his priests said the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem.
Now, of course, the interesting thing here is that you're really dealing all the time with two very normal planets moving against a very normal constellation. And the astrologers, the wise men of Babylon, would have regarded this as very significant. But Herod and the man in the street would have just thought two planets moving. And Herod was very surprised when the Magi came to him and said, "We have seen his star in the east. Where is this new Messiah?"
Such a celestial lineup is of no particular astronomical importance, but it may have been of great significance to the astrologers who flourished in those days, as unfortunately they still do. For a serious astronomical explanation of the Star of Bethlehem, well, my favorite theory is that it was a supernova. Occasionally, a star may explode with a violence so great that for a few weeks it outshines all the other stars in the sky. No human eye has seen such a thing for 350 years. The next supernova is rather overdue. As its furies fade, a supernova may become a pulsar, a tiny star emitting immensely powerful radio waves. Now, as it happens, quite recently a pulsar has been located with the rather glamorous name of PSR 1913 plus 16b has been discovered, which seems to fit the specifications of the Star of Bethlehem. How romantic if even now we can hear the dying voice of the star which heralded the Christian era.
At 7:30 tomorrow, Arthur C. Clarke investigates the moving rocks of Death Valley in the next